Lust isn't there to shame you, but to reveal something about yourself. Every time you feel that desire, that hunger, that restlessness, it's existence knocking at your door, saying, "Look beyond," but instead, you hide, you pray, you fight, you never listen. What if lust wasn't a curse, but a mirror reflecting the love you've forgotten? Today I'm going to show you that lust isn't your downfall, but your springboard. You will see that this very energy you called sin can become your path to freedom. For generations, humanity has tried to escape desire through religion, guilt, and control. Yet the fire still burns within us. I will teach you to face this fire without fear, to see lust not as a temptation to resist, but as a lesson to be learned. When desire is understood, it transforms into love. When it is condemned, it transforms into poison. You have been conditioned to be ashamed of your own desires. The world has taught you to separate mind from body, to consider one sacred and the other impure. This separation is the true evil. This is why people live in conflict, torn between prayer and passion, between the temple and the bed. I do not separate them. I tell you that they both belong to the same heaven. He who understands covetousness can pray more deeply than any saint. He who transforms it knows the true meaning of purity. In this message, I will lead you to the heart of the nature of covetousness, not as defined by morality, but as revealed by reality. Let's explore together the reasons for this burning desire, your fear, and how your resistance only fuels it. I will show you how this same energy that transforms into desire can also be transformed into love, meditation, and even awakening. His secret lies hidden at the heart of your desire, and once discovered, your life will change forever. Stay with me until the end, because what begins as a fire can end as light. You've always heard that lust is dangerous, that it must be controlled, hidden, that it breeds guilt. They say that to remain pure, you must fight this inner fire. But there's one thing almost no one understands. The moment you fight against your own energy, you've already lost. How can you win a war against yourself if what you call desire isn't against you, but an integral part of you? It's not your enemy, it's your misunderstood friend. When you feel desire, what's really happening? Life itself is whispering through you. The same life that stirs in the trees, that makes the petals of a flower unfurl, that makes the birds sing at dawn. Desire is simply the pulse of existence that tells us we are alive. But religion came and perverted it. It decreed that this natural rhythm was a sin. It dishonored it with the very force that had given birth to it. Thus you find yourself divided between body and soul, heaven and earth, and you begin to live divided. This division is at the root of all suffering. A divided person can never be whole, never find peace. They are constantly at war, torn between two fires. One part of them yearns for prayer, the other for connection. One part yearns for the divine, the other for embracing life. And between these two extremes, his being is divided. I met a monk who hadn't seen a woman for 20 years. He told me proudly, "I have conquered desire." But every night he dreamed of women. Awake, he was a saint. In his dreams, he suffered terribly. What he had tried to annihilate haunted him even in his unconscious, and that is the very nature of repression. She conceals her lust underground, where it grows, strengthens, darkens, and becomes more dangerous. Repression is like trying to hold back a river with your bare hands. The harder you squeeze, the more it flows away. The energy doesn't disappear. It simply finds new, distorted ways to express itself. This is why those who most vehemently condemn sex often end up obsessed with it. This is why guilt and perversion are intimately linked. Life cannot be destroyed. It can only be misinterpreted. The lotus is born from mud, but mud is not cursed. On the contrary, it is honored, for without it there is no flower. Similarly, the sacred is born from sensual earth. This same energy that transforms into desire, once understood, can become love and purified prayer. But the beginning is always in the mud. So don't be afraid of your desire. Learn to recognize it. Don't try to silence it. Listen to it. Desire only becomes dangerous when it is fought or blindly followed. But if you simply observe, without judgment or indulgence, a miracle occurs. Your poison transforms into fragrance. The very energy that once troubled you begins to illuminate you. And when you see it clearly, something within you calms for the first time. You stop apologizing for being human. You stop trying to escape your own nature. You begin to live in harmony with everything. And that's where the transformation begins. You see, from the moment you stop seeing it as wrong, you finally begin to understand what lust has always tried to teach you. It's not a sin to let yourself be consumed by desire. It's a sin to remain asleep under its sway. So let's delve deeper into this now. What is desire really trying to show you? What is the hidden message behind this passion? There's one thing most people completely ignore. Desire isn't calling you to another body, but to reconnect with yourself. The world has taught you to look for it outside yourself, to believe that fulfillment lies in the gaze, touch and approval of others. But this desire, this anguish that seems to point to another person, is in reality existence trying to bring you back to yourself. It is your own life force pulsating within you saying, "Wake up." There is something within you that yearns to be seen. Every time you feel desire, you see yourself reflected in a mirror. And in that mirror, what you see is not the other person. It is your own reflection in the fire of desire. When you experience desire, your whole being vibrates with energy. It's like hunger, but not for food. It's like thirst, but not for water. It's a deep and undefined call to rediscover wholeness. Yet instead of listening, we chase after the first thing that comes our way. A face, a shape, a fantasy. And we forget that the object is merely a symbol, a tiny spark that ignited the great fire within us. That is why desire is insatiable. It simply repeats itself. We meet one person, then another, and yet another, and the hunger persists. We may satisfy the body for a moment, but the soul remains empty, because what we truly desire is not pleasure. It is peace. Have you ever noticed how after a moment of passion, a breathtaking silence settles in for an instant? Your mind drifts, time stands still. You cease to exist, as if no other being were present. That's why this moment feels so sacred, so intoxicating. But then your mind returns and the quest begins again. You think you desire another body, another experience. But what you truly yearn for is that silence, that instant when barriers dissolve and you are simply present. Desire is the body's way of reminding us of the sensation of being present. The object is never the goal. The goal is that glimpse of fulfillment. The man who courts women or the woman who courts men are not seeking bodies. They are seeking union. Perhaps they are unaware of it, but what they desire is wholeness. Desire is the gateway through which life invites us to find fulfillment, not in others, but within ourselves. I once told a disciple, when we are thirsty, we think we want water, but what we truly desire is for the thirst to cease. Water is merely the path. The destination is peace. The same is true of desire. The body yearns for contact, but the soul yearns for union. The mistake is confusing the two. That's why lovers are so restless. They're constantly searching for each other, yet the distance never disappears, because it's an inner distance. As long as you don't overcome it within yourself, no lover can bridge it. Desire isn't a curse but a compass. It points to your forgotten self. But you must look where it points, not where it shines. Imagine a moth drawn to a flame. It mistakes the light for possession and is consumed. But the wise person, the seeker, learns to contemplate the flame without being consumed. They allow the fire to reveal their reflection instead of destroying them. Try it. The next time a desire arises within you, do not rush to satisfy it or condemn it. Simply observe it. Feel the energy flowing through your body. Feel the warmth, the pulse, the restlessness. Don't name it. Don't call it desire or love. Simply observe. If you remain present without acting or judging, you will perceive something subtle. The energy begins to transform. It shifts from tension to tenderness, from desire to harmony. What you call desire becomes meditation. The miracle lies in the fact that this same energy that propels you outward can also guide you inward. Pursuing it blindly keeps you trapped in misery. By observing it consciously, you become its master. Desire in its purest form is life's invitation to awakening. It is not there to enslave you, but to reveal your intrinsic freedom. And when you begin to perceive desire as a message and not a mistake, something profound happens. Fear disappears. Shame disappears. You begin to move with a new grace. Because now even your desires participate in your awakening. You begin to understand that every emotion, every sensation, every breath is sacred when touched by consciousness. Now that we understand what desire is trying to communicate to you, it's essential to expand your consciousness. Because this same energy, capable of awakening, you can also destroy you if you remain asleep. It's like fire. It can warm your home or set it ablaze. Let's delve deeper into this. This energy can take two paths: the downward path, toward desire, or the upward path, toward love. What I am about to reveal may seem strange at first, because the same energy that can blind a man with desire can also fill him with compassion. The difference lies in its direction, downward or upward. It is not a matter of good or evil, right or wrong. It is a matter of consciousness. During sleep, energy is poured into the pursuit of pleasure, desire, the endless repetition of the same hunger. But upon waking, this same energy rises again, and lust gradually transforms into love. And love, if it can flourish, becomes prayer. Let us first consider what occurs in the absence of consciousness, what I call the downward flow. When we are unconscious, desire becomes mechanical. We seek satisfaction, but find only emptiness. Pleasure vanishes before we can even fully savor it, and the mind immediately demands more. This is how addiction is born, not to drugs or alcohol, but to desire itself. We then enter a vicious cycle, always seeking, never obtaining. The more we consume, the less alive we feel, because every unconscious act drains us. Desire without love breeds weariness, a kind of inner poverty. I've seen people live like this, flitting from one relationship to another, from one emotion to another. They claim to want love, but in reality, they're trying to escape. They're not in love with anyone. They marvel at the distraction, the adrenaline, the fleeting illusion of being alive, which vanishes as quickly as it appears. They live like someone drinking salt water. The more they drink, the thirstier they become. Desire promises satisfaction, but only breeds an even greater desire. And what does society do? It fuels these two extremes. On the one hand, it invites you to indulge in pleasure, to follow all your desires. On the other, religion enjoins you to repress, deny and crucify your instincts. Both paths are blind. Both are born of ignorance. Whether you drown in pleasure or are consumed by repression, you remain unaware. You cannot fight darkness with darkness. You can only light a lamp. The fire of desire is like a lamp when understood. Without awareness, it burns. With awareness, it illuminates. Energy is innocent in essence. It takes the form we give it. When we direct our awareness toward it, it transforms. It becomes gentle, compassionate, creative. That same fire that once tormented you metamorphoses into a warmth that heals others. But remember, transformation doesn't happen by fighting desire, but by observing it. From the moment you begin to observe your desire, you cease to be its slave. You can feel it rising within you, and yet a distance arises. You are the observer, no longer the wave. And when awareness comes into play, something extraordinary happens. The energy that was pulling you down begins to rise. This is the second path, the upward flow. When desire becomes conscious, its essence transforms. Longing for the other becomes a celebration of being. You begin to understand that love is desire purified by consciousness. The energy is the same, only its direction has changed. In desire, you use the other as an object. In love, we meet as in a mirror. Lust asks, "What can I get?" Love asks, "What can I give?" Lust takes, love shares. Lust consumes, love creates. In true love, we no longer need the other to fill our emptiness, for we overflow with love. We don't fall in love, we rise in love. And when love matures, it becomes prayer. Then even the presence of others becomes superfluous. We begin to feel a profound intimacy with our own existence. We gaze at a tree and emotion overwhelms us. We look up at the sky and tears well up in our eyes. The desire that once bound us to a single person now opens us to everything. Kabir said, "The river that flows into the ocean becomes the ocean." When desire insinuates itself into consciousness, it becomes vast and sacred. One can still touch, feel, celebrate the body, but now with reverence, no longer with desire. It's like the flame of a candle. Controlled, it illuminates everything. Uncontrolled, it consumes everything. Unconscious desire destroys. But desire illuminated by awareness gives light. This transformation is not theoretical, but lived. You can feel it the moment you stop running from your own energy. When you settle into it, breathe with it, and let it flow through you without attachment or guilt. You will realize that it begins to rise like a flame. It penetrates the heart and transforms into tenderness, compassion, and ultimately, serenity. From this, a question arises: how can this transformation be sustained? How in our daily lives can we shift desire into love and love into prayer? The answer lies in one word: awareness. It is the alchemy of awareness. Let us therefore delve deeper into this subject. How can this fire be transformed into light? How can every moment of desire be transformed into meditation? This reflection changed everything for me, because once the secret of consciousness is unlocked, one realizes that it is no longer necessary to fight against anything, not even against desire. The entire struggle between repression and gratification disappears, because both stem from the unconscious. Consciousness is a third force. It neither fights nor follows. She simply observes, and in this observation, energy begins to flow differently. When you are conscious, you can feel desire growing within you like a wave. You can feel its warmth, its strength, its movement. And yet you remain still, like the vastness of the ocean beneath that wave. The moment you observe without judgment, energy itself becomes luminous. The fire that once blinded you begins to light your way. Meditation doesn't kill energy, it redirects it. Spirituality is often thought to involve becoming cold, distant, and suppressing one's passions. This isn't meditation, it's self-mutilation. To meditate is to allow everything, to exist in its fullness while remaining centered in the midst of it all. When you become aware of an emotion, whatever it may be, anger, fear, lust, desire, it begins to lose its hold. The cloud dissipates and the sun, which was behind it, begins to shine. This is what I mean by transforming fire into light. Transformation is not achieved through discipline, but through understanding. When you fully understand something, it ceases to be what it was. It becomes part of your freedom. Observe desire without judgment, and you will see that it has a rhythm, a rise, a peak, and a fall. Every surge of desire has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It is only because you have never allowed it to run its course that it repeats itself endlessly. You remain stuck at the beginning, in the excitement, the spark, the anticipation, and before it dissipates naturally, you intervene. Either you repress desire or you satisfy it too soon, and the cycle remains unfinished. That's why desire always returns. Its cycle never ends. Only consciousness allows for its completion. When you observe without doing anything, without intervening, the energy reaches its peak and then dissolves into silence, and in this silence resides bliss. It is not the happiness of satisfaction, but that of freedom. It is like watching the smoke dissipate from a mirror. The mirror was always clean, but one could never see one's reflection because of the condensation. Lust is that smoke. Conscience is the breath that dissipates it. And when the smoke clears, only clarity remains, the reflection of your own being. You then realize that there was never any problem within you. Only your vision was clouded. The alchemy of consciousness is not an action, but a perception. When you are conscious, the transformation occurs on its own. Just as fire transforms cold metal into molten gold, the blacksmith does not fight the metal. He lets the fire do its work. Similarly, when you invest your energy in the fire of consciousness, it softens, melts, and transforms. The raw iron of desire becomes the shining gold of love. And the beauty of this process lies in the fact that nothing is lost. Everything is purified. But consciousness must be whole. Partial consciousness remains a dream. One cannot simply be conscious in meditation and then fall back into oblivion in life. Mindfulness should permeate your steps, your words, your gestures. Then even the most mundane acts become sacred. Eating, walking, breathing, everything becomes a form of prayer. Mindfulness transforms the everyday into a miracle. I am often asked, what should I do when a desire arises? And I answer, do nothing. Simply observe. Don't label it good or bad. Don't reject it, don't chase it. Welcome it in silence. Let it pass through you like a breeze. It arrives between the trees, stirs the leaves, and disappears. You are not the breeze. You are the space it passes through. As soon as you remember this desire will lose its hold. And when one can contemplate desire without fear, one can also contemplate love without attachment. Then even meditation becomes easy. For meditation is nothing other than the full awareness of all that exists. One ceases to choose between the divine and the impure, good and evil. One begins to understand that everything is one and the same energy dancing in different forms. And this vision is liberation. But when this vision manifests, something even more beautiful happens. A new innocence blossoms within you. You become like a child again, free, carefree, spontaneous. The mind, burdened by guilt and the need for control, becomes as light as air. Let's explore this now. What happens when desire and love are understood? When consciousness purifies all passion, transforming it into light, only innocence remains, pure and radiant like the rising sun. When love blossoms fully and consciousness dispels all confusion, only serene innocence remains, something so pure, so simple, that the mind cannot comprehend it. Only the heart can feel it. In this innocence, there is no longer any separation between body and soul, between the sacred and the profane, between God and life. You begin to understand that everything is divine. The touch of a hand, the scent of the earth after the rain, the warmth of the sun on your face, everything becomes prayer. Nothing is outside the sacred, for there is no longer any division within you. You have returned home. Innocence is not ignorance. It is clarity without conflict. It is the state of a child, but with the depth of a sage. The child is innocent because he is ignorant. The sage is innocent because he knows, but he has freed himself from the burden of knowledge. This is the blossoming that occurs when desire transforms into love and love into awareness. You are reborn, fresh, untouched, alive in every moment. You can contemplate beauty without desiring to possess it. You can touch without any ulterior motive. You can love without fear of loss. In innocence, there are no plans, no anxiety, no ambition, only a gentle exuberance. Those who have reached this stage live in the world but do not belong to it. They move through life like a breeze through the forest, touching everything and holding on to nothing. They give effortlessly, for giving has become their nature. Their love is like the fragrance of a rose. It gives itself simply because it exists. The rose does not choose whom it will perfume. It gives itself to all who pass by, drawn by its fragrance even to the sinner. Likewise, those who have transcended desire and love share their being with all, without preference or possessiveness. When desire fades, guilt fades. When love blossoms, fear disappears. When innocence emerges, even the ego dissolves. All that remains is life breathing, moving, existing through you. You are no longer the agent. You are the dance itself. That is freedom. It's not about the freedom to choose, but the freedom not to choose, not to be troubled, not to be torn apart inside. You are so at peace that even death becomes just another movement in the dance. Have you ever seen a child watch the rain? They don't think about taking shelter. They don't calculate the weather. They simply open their hands, their mouth, their eyes, and let the sky fall upon them. That is innocence. When you manage to live like this again, open, defenseless, and trusting, you rediscover your original nature. This is awakening. There's no need to become a saint. It's enough to reach wholeness. And when you reach wholeness, holiness radiates from your every action. The body becomes a temple, not because you adorn it with purity, but because you no longer consider it separate from the divine. The air that permeates you is the air of God. The beating of your heart is the rhythm of God. You can no longer distinguish where you end and where existence begins, for there are no longer any boundaries to defend. You have surrendered yourself completely, and this surrender is your victory. Freedom lies not in the mastery of desire, but in understanding it so profoundly that it becomes transparent, invisible. One passes through it, and beyond, peace reigns. One is free because there is no one left to fight. The ego that once struggled against lust, that once measured purity, that once aspired to enlightenment, all of this dissolves into silence. And in this silence a fragrance spreads, the fragrance of innocence, of pure being, of unconditional joy. Thus the circle is complete. Lust has never been your enemy. It has been your guide, your path, your gateway to consciousness. It led you to the fire so that you could find the light hidden within you. When you stop running from lust and begin to listen to its message, you discover that it was love in a different form. And when love matures and transforms into consciousness, it reveals the innocence that has always been there, latent at the heart of all things. Now rest is possible, not in repression, not in excess, but in understanding. You perceive the divine everywhere, in every form, in every breath. In every heartbeat, desire led you here. Love showed you the way. Consciousness has fulfilled you. And innocence is the fragrance that lingers when the fire is entirely transformed into light. Thus, my beloved, we have reached the end of this journey. But this is not an end. It is the beginning of a new ocean. You came here believing that lust was your prison, your enemy, your shame. And now you know that it was never against you. It was your master in disguise, knocking at the door of your conscience, asking you to understand, not to resist. What you called sin was merely life disguised as desire. What you called impurity was merely existence itself, seeking to remind you that you are still alive, that the flame within you still burns, waiting to transform into light. The door to freedom was never closed. You simply looked away. You stared at your shadow, frightened, instead of turning towards the sun. For a long time, you were taught to run away from your instincts, your passions, your body, your hunger, as if God lived elsewhere, far from earth, indifferent to it. But now you see how wrong that is. The divine is not above you. It is within you. It is in your breath, in your blood, in the stirring of desire and in the silence that follows. Once you understand this, there will no longer be a separation between the sacred and the sensual. Everything becomes a gateway. The gaze of a loved one, the whisper of the wind, the warmth of a caress, all these are gateways to infinity. Such is the beauty of understanding. Nothing should be destroyed, only transformed. When one brings one's awareness to desire, it becomes love. When one brings one's awareness to love, it becomes prayer. And when awareness is complete, prayer dissolves into silence. This silence is the fragrance of truth, not the silence of emptiness, but that of fullness, contentment, and total acceptance. Do not fight against your nature. Understand it. Do not condemn your passion. Learn to see your light. From the moment you see clearly, you will understand that life has never been against you. You were hurting yourself because you believed in a concept of purity that wasn't yours, in a definition of holiness that wasn't yours. Now you can be free of it. Rediscover your innocence. Let your love be simple, your joy spontaneous, your silence profound. You are not a sinner. You are a seeker who went astray through fear. And now with full awareness, you have found your way again. Every step you take toward understanding brings you closer to your true home, the one that was never stolen from you, the one you simply forgot while you slept. Awaken, and you will see that the same energy that once dragged you into darkness now guides you toward good.